Hey y'all, Eric here with a little short video for today. I think I get some things ready for my first installment meeting. Well, actually, not an installment meeting, but my first meeting after being installed as the representative of the Carolinas LGBT Chamber of Commerce on the Charlotte Business Inclusion Advisory Committee. Uh, but yesterday, the City Council of Charlotte approved a historic 4 point, I believe it's either 4.2 or 4.5. Um, I believe it is, actually, I don't have that video queued up. I think, anyway, I might be wrong, but I think it was 4.2 or $4.5 billion for the City of Charlotte budget for the fiscal year 2026 through 2027, which begins July 1st, 2026. And so most of the comments that I've seen on the posts that the City of Charlotte is doing are about either the discussion about the data centers, um, people calling the rail trails the Kim trails. But there is a lot of comment about the City of Charlotte representation, the city council members giving themselves a raise because city taxes did go up to the tune, it equals out to $5.71 per month. Now, true story, taxes do hurt or can affect the least of the population. It can. Um, I'm not going to argue with that. Particularly when the tax is not applied fairly. But in this case, if you live within the Charlotte city limits, everybody's taxes are going to go up. Now, pertinent to what I just said about most of the comments being about the members of city council giving themselves a raise. Uh, that is true, but only to a point. And here is where, because most of the people who are making those comments probably didn't go to the meeting, listen to the meeting, or even read the bill. And so the raise was given to all city employees. That includes policemen and firemen. So I'm not going to delve into this too much. I'll just bring up my Facebook page and show you a couple of the posts. The posts that I'm talking about were not on that one. I mean, there were multiple. Um, there were multiple comments about this, but and I'm pretty sure the city of Charlotte actually put that video up. But anyway, let me just bring these pictures back up for you. Probably need to restart my computer because I've had my computer on for like 12 days. Um, but it wasn't a unanimous vote. The Republican council member Ed Driggs and at-large council member LaWanna Mayfield voted no. I have not seen any comments anywhere as to why they voted no, although I have followed LaWanna Mayfield enough to know if she votes no on something, there's something specific to the bill that she doesn't like. Ed Driggs, I'm not too familiar with, other than him being the lone Republican on city council. But getting back to my point, here's a little bit of education. So, the pay raise that's included in the budget for next year is not just for city council members, although because they hold those positions, they are considered city employees. But the city of Charlotte actually employs, in total, full and part time employees, over 8,300 people. City council only includes, I believe I have this up. So let me see if I can get that back up. Yes, City Council has 11 members, 4 at-large and 7 district representatives, all of them elected. The 4 at-large members are elected citywide. The 7 district members are elected by their districts. And then, of course, citywide elections include the mayor. So 12 members of city council, minus Vi Lyles, the current mayor, if she holds true to stepping down on June 30th, will get a pay raise. Whoever steps into the mayor's seat on July 1st as interim mayor, one particular candidate, Jennifer Roberts, has said she will take the position, but she will not take any pay. I haven't heard any other candidates say that. So anyway, the mayor and the 11 other members of city council will get a pay raise, but they're not the only ones who are getting the pay raise. As I mentioned earlier, 8,300 city employees. That includes police, firemen, the bus drivers. So if y'all are upset, I mean, truly upset about your taxes going up, then the next time you see a police officer responding to a call, get mad at them because they got a pay raise. The next time you see a fire engine, and I'm a little triggered by this because my nephew is a member of the largest firefighter department in the country. And when he puts his life in danger, just like all firefighters do, first responders do, if you're upset that they are getting a raise, then you need to just let them know that you don't want their service because you're mad they got a raise. If you utilize the CATS transit system, whether it's a bus, the streetcar, or the train, when you see the drivers on those devices, whether it's the train, the streetcar, or the bus, security on the platforms or in the transit center, the people who help you with routes in those booths, good, bad, or indifferent about the service that you get. But let them know that you're not going to be utilizing their services anymore because they got a raise. Now, what I was actually researching, hoping that they would be included, were the airport workers, because it is a true statement that the city council has jurisdiction over the airport. However, the city does not hire the airport employees. They are hired by the airlines themselves and third-party vendors that are charged by the airlines. And so it is unfortunate that we have people who are working at Charlotte Douglas who can't afford to keep a roof over their heads because of the state's minimum wage of $7.25 per hour. It sucks for them because most of them are actually doing thankless jobs. I mean, even less thankful than city sanitation workers, construction crews. So these are the people who most of you don't even think about. Most of you aren't even connected to. They're the ones who are getting a raise, in addition to the city council members and the mayor. So instead of complaining about them getting a raise, I might agree with one of the other posters who said, well, how about making some cuts to offset that money? Well, the city manager is the one who's charged with that. And it seems to me that he did his due diligence when presenting the budget. And all of us have had time enough to go to these budget meetings if we chose to do so, to go to the public workshop meetings if we chose to do so, to give our 2 cents in. And then, of course, if you live within the city council, city limits, you have a district representative, and you could have spoken your piece to them to let them know how you feel. After all, if you live in one of those 7 districts, you put them in office. The at-large members who actually speak on behalf of those of us who live in the city but are in unincorporated areas, even though we can't vote for them. Um, we have their ear. And so one thing that I know that people like to do is complain, but not do anything about it. I'll use myself an example. For a long time, I would just get angry about issues happening with CATS, Charlotte Area Transportation System. Buses not showing up on time, buses being late, buses not having mechanisms working, um, d- drivers. True story. More times than should be admitted. Going down to the transit center to catch a bus to come home, and the driver doesn't show up to work, and nobody in CATS can be pressed to have a supervisor or somebody come out and pick up the shift so that people don't have to wait 30 minutes or more on the next bus. But instead of complaining, so I started calling customer service. Nothing they can do except to take the information. And of course, if you're upset, they're going to pass you on to a supervisor who is supposed to call you back. But I can tell you, in my experience, not one supervisor has ever called me back, ever. And so while I appreciate the representatives who keep their cool while they're taking those reports, um, I just know that nothing can be done. But that's not the only thing you can do. There is an email address that you can send. And I have sent so many emails, and my emails are detailed, that I caught the ear of the interim CEO of CATS, Brent Cagle, who reached out to a couple of his lieutenants who emailed me back. And they've had conversations with me. And during those conversations, I've been educated about some things that are coming down the line, coming down the pipe. But they have also said that as a writer of the transit system, that I've actually educated them on some things that they probably weren't aware of. In that report, there was a post from the city today about using cats to go um, to a particular concert that's happening. And other people were talking about the Blue Line. It was an advertisement for the Blue Line, the train, and people were kind of half joking. Is it safe? But then just yesterday, there was a video put out about there was a guy on one of the trains at night who had a knife in his hand while being confronted in an altercation, a verbal altercation with 2 other people. There's a Facebook group called Charlitt, Charlitt. Um, Shout out to Corey for letting me know about that, where the video was there. Now, I will say this, people. Unless you are in my generation, a boomer, you get no pass on how to use a phone recording video. You don't. If you can't hold the phone steady to actually record the incident, please don't. Please don't. Please don't. And yes, I'm looking at you, the person who recorded most of the video that Charlotte used. because it's not so disjointed that you don't know what's going on, but it could have been better. It could have been better. Fortunately, nobody was hurt. The guy that everybody's talking about who had the alleged weapon in his hand, you could see something silver in his hand, and he gets off the train and goes and sits down. Looks to me like he decided to get off the train rather than be confronted, because the other two people who were in the altercation with him didn't get off the train. But also, I guess the recorder figured out that their hand had dropped and they were recording the side of the train, actually picked up the phone and started recording the guy outside. That's how you could see that he had gotten off the train and the other people did not follow him. So, but again, I can also say, because I've talked to trans cats people about this in the video, there are no security anywhere, even at that platform when the train stopped. None on there. But I got a piece of information for you about that. So, and I was educated on that. And this is not anything that's kept secret or not. I would just say that cats has to be careful about the information that they give out because people will abuse it and use it to their advantage to do nefarious things. And so on the Blue Line, at the stations that actually have parking decks built, there is a dedicated office in those parking decks where the cat security who wear the yellow shirts and vests, those uniforms, they are assigned to those platforms and they have an office. And I actually spoke to one of the security guards who actually educated me on that. And it was confirmed to be true by the person at CATS that I have been talking to. And I will just call that person Vincent. And so the security guard is the one who gave me this information. Now, the other platforms like Parkwood, 7th Street, 9th Street, just an example, because so far, for the most part, I've only used the train from downtown, the CTC platform at Trade Street, Trade and Tryon, north towards UNCC. So I used the train from downtown to Sugar Creek Bay. So the Sugar Creek Bay has a parking deck, and the security guard I talked to was assigned to the Sugar Creek Bay. And so, and they're there all day. Now, the other platforms that I was talking about, using them as the example, Parkwood, where Optimus Hall is, if you've never been there, excellent place with multiple food venues and little shops. 36th Street. No, 36th Street, I believe, does have a parking deck. And I think 25th Street does as well. But Parkwood, 9th Street, and 7th Street do not. Which means that if there is an issue that happens at one of those platforms, in order for them to know about it, somebody has to pull up the CATS app and report the problem, choose security. And this was told to me by CATS that it's better to use that app to report that concern rather than calling 911 or even the non-police 911 311, because security will get that routed concern on the app faster than they will getting the report taken by somebody on the phone and then sent over to them. I mean, it's crazy if you think about it. It's crazy. I called the non-police line the other night, and by the time I got to what I needed and the person called me back, I had been on the phone with them for a good 10 minutes before I got the answer in an email from somebody else. They couldn't help me. They couldn't help me. And so that's a problem. That's a problem. Because in one of my other videos, I talked about a Saturday afternoon late when I was coming home, and at 7th Street there was a fight, and I actually got involved in it with another guy who was on the train trying to break it up because the video that I talked about It's titled Stupid Girls. Um, they had another girl pinned to the car. I think she was trying to get on the train, and they had her pinned to the car. So the driver, for safety reasons, couldn't move the train, in particular because the doors wouldn't close. And so we got out there trying to separate them and get them away from the train, so that we could get back on the train. The train can move. So long story short, we got taken care of that. No police, no security guards. Well, now I know why. And at the time, I didn't know how to report it on the phone, and I had to make a choice to either separate them and stop them from beating up this one girl. All these girls were on one single girl. Me and the guy were trying to get to them, and then on top of that, to get the off because now the train is late, and I take the train to Sugar Creek Bay to pick up a bus, and I know already that I've missed the bus, and so that's a problem. But at least now I know how to do it. But the guy Vincent, who I've been talking about, Cats needs to do better with educating the public and educating the passengers who ride transit about what to do, and how to do it. And so that's that. But to get back to the point of this video, um, it's a hard job being on city council. It's a hard job messing with other people's money. And essentially, city council members do that, just like financial advisors who are helping people grow their money. Well, city council is taking your tax money, and they're supposed to be good stewards of that tax money and putting it where it needs to work. You're never going to please everybody. You're not. Everybody hates taxes, but those are two things that are never going to go away. There are two things you can't avoid in life. That is taxes and death. You're going to pay taxes somewhere, somewhere. Retirees who are on Social Security, essentially, they don't pay taxes on the Social Security, but when they spend the money, they're paying taxes. So you can't escape it. You can't. Um, while I may disagree with another rise in tax, I know where that money is going. And if my sanitation worker is getting a raise, good. If the police officer who patrols my neighborhood is getting a raise, good. If the firefighter who's on one of the engines that I see going to an incident gets a raise, good. If the street cleaners that I see downtown on Tryon when I'm going to the gym get a raise, good. The city ambassadors who try to keep the peace on the street, if I know that they're getting a raise, good, good. The anger needs to be directed and channeled in a different way. It should not be at the people who are getting the raise. It should not. If you don't like the way that Cats is handling things, there are people you can complain to. There are. If you don't like the way that government is running, there are people you can complain to. But because of the economy that we're in, everybody knows that just about everybody is struggling. I'm raising my hand on that because I'm on a fixed income and I've already run out of money before the next drop happens. Already. Already. But I know I have more than most people who are in my situation. I do. But we have to make it work. We do. We have to make it work because the alternative is unacceptable. But anyway, I just thought I'd put my little bit out there, my little 2 cents in there about the city tax raise. So just keep it in perspective. Keep it in perspective. You can be angry, but channel that anger in the right way and for the right issue. Don't make it about pay. All right. See you all in the next video.